Yeah, whenever we're ready, give me a thumbs up.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our city council meeting, and ask everyone to please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Dewey.
Here.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Here.
Councilmember Lizzo. Here. Councilmember Sears.
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Here. Thank you. And I'd like to recognize Sarah White, who is here tonight in the absence of John Russell. Thanks for being here, Sarah.
Thank you, Mayor.
We'll go straight to public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you. Do we have anyone wishing to speak?
Mayor and council, we have a request for Ron Ruzicka.
We'll get you, sir.
No problem, no problem.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, John.
I live at 2 Garden Lane, which is right off of Kirkwood Road, just south of Wilson. Okay, I've been there since '97, and just the things have been happening over the years. And I should have been here maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but with COVID and everything else, kind of put us behind on things. But the first thing I'm really concerned is the speeding on Kirkwood Road. It's just gotten really excessive. My yard borders Kirkwood Road. I mean, they're actually drag races at night. And actually, as I was getting dressed to come here, I couldn't believe what I was hearing just on the street. When I was first moved in, there was a policeman always somewhere in that section between Manchester Road and Essex, but we don't see him there that often anymore. And I just wanted to address that issue, which leads me into the crosswalk that was installed, okay? That crosswalk is basically dead unless someone pushes that button. What's happening, it's happening to me, some people I've seen, I've talked to the crossing guard, that people are not observing, even when the lights are going off, observing that light. So that's another thing, and I've talked to Chris, and mentioned a couple of things about the prior crosswalk was a little bit further south, and there was a blinking yellow at that time. And in fact, there wasn't even a button to cross, it was always blinking yellow. So the fact is, I think some people, when they drive through, just realize, well, it's a dead thing, either not operational yet or not. But it just seems like that someone's gonna get hit sooner or later, because all of a sudden the child doesn't realize that they have to stop. And the people are not even stopping at the white line. So, and that's what my concern is that we need to do something with that. And I don't know if you realized, and I may be wrong in this statement, but from Manchester Road to Essex, it's the longest stretch on Kirkwood Road in Kirkwood that has no individual stop signs or lights. So basically, young kid starting in Manchester knows he can drag all the way to Essex before he hits a light, which is what's going on right now. So, and it just need to do something, some type of traffic to slow things down. I think maybe had some thoughts and everything else, but since I'm limited on time, I can pass those on to Chris and other people. The next issue it leads me to is the flooding. So if you've ever gone down Kirkwood Road, going east at Hollywood, that water gets pulled and there. I don't know if you realize, but if you go from Hollywood to Swan all the way up to Taylor, there's not a single storm sewer that's up there. So all that water comes down to Kirkwood Road, and then because of, and I'm talking to MoDOT about this too, that the openings are so small that the water can't drain. It's not that the line can't take it, it's just the fact that the openings aren't there. So that where all that water goes down into my yard and into Garden Lane. And the issue with the crosswalk It's because when they put that in, they cut the curb. So there's an entrance for the pedestrian to go on, is that me? I'm sorry. That water goes into that pedestrian walk and then goes down into my yard. So now I was getting flooding in the front yard to begin with. Now I'm getting in the backyard, which goes into my pool. And it's basically the heavy rains. Well, I have videos from 2019, 2020, and 2021. Each year I have at least 2 to 3 videos during those years. So it's not just a one-time thing. This has been happening over the year. And I just wanted to address this thing. MoDOT right now is in the midst of a plan from Page to Swan to repave the road. So I already contacted MoDOT about this, and I forget the Stuart McNeil, I think it is, about the openings and everything else. So they're going to look into it. I talked to Chris to see if we can coordinate, and I already sent them a video. I eventually will send Chris all the videos too to show the main flooding that's going on there. And it's the only way I think you're going to correct it is, one, open up those lines, and two, eventually set up some storm lines on those 3 streets. I know that there's other places in Kirkwood that have the same issues, because I've driven around, I've taken pictures of the storm sewer openings and passed that on to MoDOT to show that, all you have to do is open the opening. So, but I just thought I'd make it aware, and I left my name and number, and I'd love to know who to contact directly. I've been in contact with Chris. I've actually called the chief of police about this meeting. He mentioned that he'll do something about it. Crossguard said he actually called the chief of police, and I don't know who else he called. But it's a big concern on Kirkwood Road. It is. I mean, the speeding is unbelievable. The speeding is so bad that I can't stand in my backyard and talk to someone because of the speeding, even on the weekends. In fact, it's worse on the weekends. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Sir, did you want to?
All right, I think I'm up next, and I don't have this filled out. I will fill it out before I leave. Basically,
Give us your name and address, just.
Sure. It's Greg Mayer. I just moved into 144 East Rose Hill on February 4th. I was a former Kirkwood resident. I moved out because I needed a bigger house, and where my end in Kirkwood is expensive. Me and my wife decided we were moving back. And the first thing I heard is it's the Rose Hill Raceway. Kind of like Ron talking about. He's on the other end. I know where Wilson is. It's the far other end of Kirkwood, but it's the same way. And I don't want to go down or anything. Okay, so no, we don't need lights. You know what? I live in Kirkwood. I do everything in Kirkwood. I run through Kirkwood. Bodley has these speed bumps. What Rose Hill needs is 3 to 4 speed bumps between Kirkwood Road and where it meets the Fillmore. And I've got a 21, an 18, and a 15-year-old. I'm not too worried about them, but I got neighbors that have little kids. And I kid you not, I see people, and I don't clock them, but I see people that are going easily 50 or 60 miles an hour. And they're always trying to make that light. And the worst part is they don't make it, because they go all that distance as fast as they can, and then they don't make the light. And it's also a cut around. You guys are all Kirkwoodians. You understand that some people know not only can you avoid downtown traffic, you also get an underpass if you go Rose Hill. And I don't mind people driving in front of my house to get through downtown and or to avoid a train. But I'm sick of them going that fast. And I want something done about it. So that's my comment. So I would, like I said, I want 3 to 4 of those, like anybody, I don't know if you guys know what they are. The the speed bumps that they bolt in to already existing streets. They have them, like I said, I'm right by Knifer. Knifer's got some other parking lot. It's not a tough one, guys. That's not repaving, that's not doing anything. It's gonna cost Kirkwood a little bit of money. I understand that. Can I ask you a question?
No, this is a comment.
Okay, so I don't know, I don't know if, the people on Botley bought those personally or if Kirkwood did. But there needs to be some kind of traffic control, as he said. And my issues are similar but different than his, but I want something done on Rose Hill. The Raceway, as they call it. So, that's all I've got. I'm gonna fill this out because I didn't have a clipboard. And you can have my information. You can call me anytime to talk about it because I'm not happy about this. And it's dangerous. I have to back into my driveway because if I back in, I can see the person behind me and know that they see me and I can back in. That's easier than backing out of the driveway where people are going 60 miles an hour. So.
We really thank you for your comments. That's why we're here to listen to citizens.
Well, please, I hope you listen. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Mayor and council, there's no additional requests for comment.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. Motion is second. Councilmember Ward, you want to remove item C?
Yes.
Okay, so we will now move item C to new business, number 7. So, all in favor of the consent agenda minus item C, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. All right, move to unfinished business, Bill 10949.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance amending the provisions of the Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 25, zoning and subdivision, by adding the definition of country club, adding said term to Table 35-1 as a special use in certain residential districts, and adding an associated parking rate for said term.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes. Bill passes. Bill 10950.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating $13,650 from the Certificates of Participation Series 2022 to the Fire Department Machinery and Equipment account, project number FD 2307, and accepting the bid of Felt Fire in the amount of $28,000 for the purchase of 100 sections of snap-tight FGN fire attack hose, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes.
Bill passes. Move to new business, Bill 10951.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance repealing ordinance number 10005 and all other previous fire prevention codes in conflict with this ordinance, and enacting a new fire prevention code, International Fire Code, first printing, 2021 edition, including appendix chapters B, D, E, F, I, L, and K, published by the International Code Council and the National Fire Protection Association, including amendments set forth herein governing the design, construction, alteration, enlargement, equipment repairs, conversion, use, or maintenance of all buildings and structures, prescribing minimum requirements and controls to safeguard life, property, and public welfare from the hazards of fire and explosion, providing for the issuance of permits, collection of fees, and making of inspections, providing penalties for the violation thereof, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Could you repeat a couple of those words?
I'll read the whole thing.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
All right, a motion is second. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Tino?
Yes, Chief, I looked through the amendments, and there's quite a bit of amendments listed here to this 2021 edition. So I just kind of wanted to talk about and get some information from you, sir, about, is it typical to have this many amendments to this? Is it because it's been so long? Just kind of walk through how we got to this point.
Sure, so those are minimal compared to the actual code. The book is like this thick. But you have to do that in order to make it applicable to the city of Kirkwood and the region. So they are pretty, when Battalion Chief Fisher did the research on the code update, he analyzed a bunch of different areas, 2021 codes, to make sure we were the same, but also we had to incorporate to make sure we were still in compliance, or still pretty equivalent to the building codes as far as, we use the same fees. But also, we have certain things such as like bridges, that we want our weights on there for our apparatus, different approach angles for our apparatus, are pretty similar to others. Those nuisance violations, which are pretty common throughout the region. But I think to answer your question is, yes, they're similar to the region. We have to make that 2021 applicable to the region and in Kirkwood, and that's why those amendments are in there.
I'm sure there are a lot of changes from the old
Oh, yeah.
version, right?
So a couple of them are, food trucks, for example. We didn't have those back in 2009. And the city of St. Louis issues the certificates, and so all the St. Louis County basically uses those certificates, so that amendment is in there.
I saw that too. I wondered why it said city and not.
Right, because the county just hasn't, if the city's gonna do it, we let them do it, so we accept that. And there's a couple other things that have come into existence since 2009. Some group assembly items that I think you saw in there, some rooftop items, which are very applicable. So there's a lot that's changed.
Yeah, I think if a resident looked at this, they would see, pages of amendments and wonder, so it's good to have that
It
background.
would take you a while to read that.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Anything else, from the Chief? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
All right, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Resolution 138, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending the purchase order with Crescent Electric Supply by increasing the amount by $12,674 for a total not to exceed amount of $64,981 for the purchase of an additional dual port charging station for the Hutton condominiums on Madison Avenue pursuant to Sourcewell Cooperative Contract, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval? There's a motion is second. Questions or comments from council?
Yeah, could we get an explanation of what this is about? That the city is putting in charging stations for residents of the Hutton?
That is correct. That is correct.
How does this work?
Well, it's basically a smart business decision for the electric department, because this will be a metered electric item that will be charged by credit card for usage. So the electric department has done a business analysis that identifies that this is in their best interest.
Okay, because I didn't understand that part of in the explanation that it actually was going to be metered, so.
Oh, yes.
That definitely, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Givens?
Well, it just seems that we need to really look at this as a budget item from now on. With the two large complexes that we're going to be putting in and others to come, I think there needs to be.
I can assure you that Mark is looking at that in his budget, which will be proposed to council at the end of December.
Anything else from council?
Other than to say, those were exactly my questions, and because we shouldn't be paying for those, but we're not, so good. Thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 139, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the single source proposal of Vermont Systems Incorporated in the amount of $29,067 for PayTrack credit card payment services for the Parks and Recreation Department, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Skip one.
Did I skip one?
You said the wrong one.
This number three.
Skip 139.
All right. We're too quickly here. All right.
Redo.
Redo. Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending the contract with Warner and Schifrin Incorporated by increasing the amount by $22,000 for a total not to exceed amount of $95,030 for Kirkwood City Hall and Police Department parking lot reconstruction design, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an amended contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Is there a second? All right, motion is second. Questions or comments? Is that a hand?
That is a hand,
Councilmember
yes.
Little.
I was just wondering, I read the explanation of this, but I'm not really sure what's going on. And this is miscalculation of impacted square footage, and that's how the MSD thing came about with impervious surface, because we're not talking about designing anything new, like a memorial. It's just one piece of property was being, could we get an explanation of that?
Yes, I think Bill probably would be best because he worked directly with MSD on this.
Basically, what it was that there were some improvements made that never went to, like Memorial Walk, that never went to MSD. So when we went to MSD to get those things looked at, they included those into the project, which increased our detention requirements for the site.
So,
So there's greater impervious surface than what was projected to be because of the additions of the Memorial Walk and other impervious areas within the site that weren't accounted for in the past.
okay, those were previously not calculated.
Correct.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Anything else from council? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 140, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution. Yes. Gotta make sure I get it right this time. This is a resolution accepting the single source proposal of Vermont Systems Incorporated in the amount of $29,067 for PayTrack credit card payment services for the Parks and Recreation Department, authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion second. Questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons?
Well, I was curious about single source provider, why it is a single source provider, why we didn't go out to bid on this.
I'll let Dave, go ahead and take that one. Don't mind.
So, the PayTrack credit card system through Vermont Systems is actually the required vendor of our software system for all the payments for RecTrack, which is the company the software that we utilize for all the scheduling and billing for all the recreation programs in the city.
So we had no choice, basically.
Anything else from council? Seeing nothing else, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward? Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 141, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the proposal of Invisio in the amount of $27,500 for community strategic planning and reporting software solution for an initial term of 12 months with the option to renew for up to 2 additional 12-month terms pending budgetary approval, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Questions or comments from council?
Well, it mentions in here that there were 2 other bids, but we typically get what those were, and we didn't. And I'm wondering why.
Not sure why they were not included. But there were 2 other. Dave, do you know on the bidding on this? What happened there?
There were additional proposals here. Pull it up.
I mean, I can tell you why Vizio came to the top. It was not the lowest price one. Remember, these bids are not based on price. We don't take the lowest price. This is a consulting service. So it was determined that this offered something that the others didn't. It's a software service. It's not really consulting. I take it back. It's more of a software service. This met our needs better than the other bidders. We can get you the specifics on the other bidders with no difficulty.
But by doing that, though, I mean, you have to really make a comparison, you have to scope.
That's the whole thing, right?
And so it's an RFP, you know, because we ask them, you know, we as a city, we decide who's the best vendor for it. So we can get the information, but we have to scope of work.
Right, yeah, and what they can provide compared to the others.
Right. We saw presentations from 3 different entities on this, and Vizio rose to the top in the review group. Even though it was more expensive, we felt that it was the better to provide a dashboard environment that was easy to use for our citizens regarding our strategic planning and also some financial and performance measurement data. So that's the intent, as we had discussed at the strategic planning session in July. We were going to a dashboard format, and this is the result of that analysis.
It may be helpful just in the future when there are other proposals, just at least reference them.
Mhm.
We have proposals from ABC and that type of thing.
We'll make sure that occurs.
So another.
Well, I was wondering what this was all about, because the description doesn't really, so I was wondering, this is a brand new tool that we're gonna be.
We integrated with our website, that is correct.
So it's basically for the website, or it's also, I mean, it's gonna help staff and council and whatever track things
Correct.
better. Whereas up to this point, we've been doing it ourselves manually, or not at all?
We've
or-
not had
I'm
a
not
way
sure
of.
what,
The intent here is to provide a dashboard to see progress on any number of strategic plan items and make it more public facing. So the public understands what we're doing and why we're doing it.
so like street projects or something? That would
Well,
be-
strategic plan, which
Okay.
is the 5-year, which isn't necessarily street projects per se. We have a project page on our website. This is more governance and the community improvements and things along those lines that were identified in the strategic plan.
Okay. And then I see, renew for up to 2 additional 12-month terms for $20,000 per year, so potential 67.5. Do you anticipate, or you're gonna see how things go, or, I mean, do you anticipate this is gonna become kind of a regular budget item?
Yes, assuming it serves the purpose that we intend, it would be a regular budget item, correct?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anything else from council? All right, seeing nothing else, roll call please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Doogie?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 142, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending the contract with Traymar Contracting Incorporated by increasing the amount by $7,741 for a total not to exceed amount of $87,779.50 for acrylic waterborne pavement markings and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an amended contract.
Is there a motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Ward?
I had a question that I had passed on to Mr. Oz earlier today regarding a couple of things. One is the reflectivity of this and whether it meets the highway department standards for reflectivity. And then the life cycle costs, which we had once before, concern about our pavement markings not being very durable. That's the way to put it. So I'm just wondering where we stand on those two issues.
Call Bill up for that. Okay.
As far as reflectivity, we talked to Chris about this in talking to Trademark, is our contractor, and they feel that what we're meeting the reflectivity requirement right now of the new standards, the way they're putting it down, okay, with reflective beams, basically. So we're meeting those reflectivity requirements, even though we're not required to meet reflectivity requirements for streets posted under 35 miles an hour, but we are meeting those standards, and will be into the future, because I think what Chris was telling me is that the standard is 100 lumens, and our contractors put down 300, equivalent to 300 lumens right now.
Okay, and in terms of durability, where we expect since it's waterborne, does that change the life cycle of it?
That doesn't, well, it doesn't really change it to the life cycle, but it stays on the same life cycle that we provided the council last time, comparing waterborne to waterborne epoxies and thermoplastic. So we expect it to last 2 years, and they should be the duration of the paint, the reflectivity.
Thank you.
Anything else? No, Councilmember Gibbons?
I don't understand, it was an overrun, and the work's already been done, and then they came back to us and want to charge us more. I don't understand how that happened, and why we're responsible for it. Didn't they give us weren't they under contract for a certain amount in places, and they did it, and now they're coming back and saying they did more, or? I don't know.
Yes, they did more, and that we authorized more, but through project tracking, that was an error on our part, and that's why we have to come back.
What does that mean, project tracking? I don't know what that means.
They put down more than we kept track of, basically. Okay, they painted more, we asked them to paint more, and they did so, and we did not track it close enough to keep it within the budget limit.
Isn't that their responsibility?
No, we gave them authorization of what to do.
But they didn't put a bid in for what you asked?
Yes, they went over the quantities, but we were not tracking the quantities, so it becomes our responsibility. Because it's not uncommon that we add additional things based on the contract and our budget limitations that we come to the city council with. We typically ask for, but the bid may come in at, let's just say 60,000, we might add another 10% for overages. And we failed to track that accurately, those overages.
So, I mean, it was authorized, so we authorized them to do the work, so we would have paid for it either when the project was going on, but as Bill said, it sounds like it's something that just got skipped over, so we're gonna pay for it now instead of paying for it. The contractor just did what they were told to do by the city, so.
Correct.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Bill. Seeing no other questions, roll call please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Now the resolution from the consent agenda, resolution 137, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Joe Mockins Ford in the amount of $48,793 pursuant to a state of Missouri cooperative contract for the purchase of a 2023 Ford F-250 Crew Cab 4x4 for the Facilities Operations Department and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Motion for approval?
Move.
Is there a second? Second. Questions or comments? I'll go to Councilmember Ward.
Yeah, Mr. Hawes, my question is simple. We keep ordering crew cab trucks, and as I watch our vehicles run through town here, I rarely see anybody in that second row seat. So it's a $3,000, it's not a budget buster, but I'm just wondering why we're buying vehicles with a specialized use that we don't need.
Well, I wouldn't say that we don't need it. I have had discussions with the department heads about the use of crew cab trucks, as you brought it up to me previously. They indicate that while anecdotally you may not see them riding full vehicles all the time, they do have needs at times for additional carrying people. So they feel that it's worthy, and Fleet agrees. Fleet manages the purchase of vehicles. If they had any concern about it, they would point that out as well. I've talked with Fleet about it. It's just something that we feel that we get the worth out of that additional. You don't want to be in a position where you have to carry a crew and you can't. So I believe that's what their take is on it.
Thank you.
Anything else from council? Councilor Bedoya?
Yes, they did take several of us to the creature.
That was a patrol car.
Yeah.
Different. I'm not suggesting we get two-seat patrol cars, but
Yeah.
SUV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not pickup.
Okay. Okay.
In the pickup, we could actually just sit in bed.
Yeah, it would, but we did that. Yeah.
Like the good old days.
Yeah.
Put us in the back.
Right.
All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Givens?
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Ward?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Resolution passes. City council reports. I'll take the good news that Mr. Hawes shared with us last week from Money, formerly known as Money Magazine, now it's digital. In their annual rankings of best places to live in the United States, they made Kirkwood 36 out of 50. That's pretty neat from a respected national publication like this. It's interesting, took cities like Kirkwood, it also included cities like Atlanta, number one, Tampa, Boise, Idaho, San Diego, it's incredible. It's fairly, from what I understand, kind of data-driven based on economic opportunities, quality of life, diversity, and one that I know is the best futures. And so, and this was IS Russ, we had nothing to do with this. They did the investigation, and I think it's pretty neat. I know a press release is either gone out or going out.
It will be going out here in the next few days.
Will we have this on the web, the link? Can we get the link on our website so people can?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Yeah, so for people watching, we'll have the link on our website very shortly, and you can go to Money Magazine and see the entire list and specifically look at the city of Kirkwood.
Yeah, read what they wrote about it, because they have very nice narratives there.
Now, Mr. Mayor, as a concerned parent, this is where you say to your child, why aren't you 34th Street and higher than
We're the only one from Missouri, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what I understand, yeah. So really, it's good news. Cool that you're recognized. Councilmember Lindsay.
Well, I would just want to say bravo to Beach and Park Neighborhood Improvement Association, everyone who helped bring out a wonderful crowd to the Tim Cunningham jazz concert last Friday night. It wasn't a full house, but it was a really very large crowd. If Electric Director Petty had something to do with Tim Cunningham actually coming here, bravo to him. And it seemed like he really was kind of hands-on with that event, as well as Beach and Park Neighborhood Improvement Association. Hope that the met for the scholarship program did well. I thought it was, there were a few issues with some of the sound system stuff, but I thought it was a really great event and wonderful to see the crowd come out and have a great time.
Anything else from this side? Okay. Anything from this side? All right. Chief Administrative Officer report.
Nothing to report at this time.
How about you?
Russ, you do.
I did.
You do.
Oh, it's on this. Digging, that's right in front of me.
It's resolution 152.
Yeah.
Sarah on the hot seat.
I do have something to report. There you are. The city has received a request from the Kirkwood Optimist Club to operate its annual fundraising tree lot at North Middle School beginning on November 19th, 2022, with hours of operation 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. We would ask a city council voice vote for this.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion. We have a motion to second. Any questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Anything else, Russ, or should we look it
No,
up?
I have nothing more to report.
All right. City Attorney report.
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Sarah. City Clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor, I have one thing to report. It's scheduled upcoming public hearing. We have one scheduled for November 17th, 2022, which is a request for a zoning map amendment, R4 to B3 for the property at 10557 Big Bend Boulevard, and a special use permit and major site plan for the construction of a new daycare on the properties of 10551 and 10557 Big Bend Boulevard. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Next meeting, of City Council will be 2 weeks from tonight, 7 p.m. on November 17th. This meeting is adjourned.
I go over there for.
Good night.